WWF Light Heavyweight Champion Gilbert, brother, and you're listening to the Cretins Guild Podcast.
I was hoping I'd hit recording like a second before you said that, because that would have been a great opening line.
What, only on the luxury models?
Yeah.
There's nothing luxurious about this entire thing. Wait, what? Why are you fucking looking at me like that? Okay.
And with that is episode 121 of the Cretins Guild Podcast. Just messing with you.
Suck up my farts.
Folks, this converse is a candid ride-along style of lifelong friends filled with inside jokes, callbacks, insights, highlights, lowlights, and all the speed bumps in between. Join our Discord. You can continue the conversation there. There's going to be a link, in the linky thingies, where they put links.
What's a link? It's just a link, man. There's no sub-quality of a link. It's just, you click. Okay, never mind. Almost 10 years of this bullshit, by the way.
Almost. We're getting there.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll survive, but we'll see.
Nearly 10 years ago, we began a podcast to talk about stuff that we get nostalgic about. 10 years ago.
Yeah. Do you remember what our goal, or what our, wasn't really a goal, but our main focal point for this podcast was when we first started?
Nerd or not? Yeah.
Yes, that was an aspect of it, but it was going to be like the main attraction, the trivia portion of the entire podcast. But the rest of the discussion portion of the podcast was going to be board games.
Really? It was a board game-centric thing?
Well, because at first we were going to be sponsored by a particular company that sells board games that isn't around anymore.
Oh, I wonder what happened to them. And why they didn't sponsor us.
No, they sponsored us with huge air quotes. Mm-hmm. My hand's waving with the air quoting.
I was gonna say you're like having a Mr. Sacco seizure. I don't remember the thing about the sponsorship. I remember we were sponsored by like Manscaping for a while there, and then.
Oh yeah. That was a little thing. It was a trial that they would give us some free stuff. We would say we're sponsored by them, and if the episodes, if the code that we gave pushed enough of their product, they would sponsor us long term. That never panned out. Au contraire, people do listen.
Yeah. Well, okay, all right. We do have an audience, but it is a dedicated underground, if you could call it anything.
They would rather just laugh at us than throw money in our direction.
Very much so, and I'm not quite sure.
I do not blame them. I do not blame them.
No, why would you? And it could be said that not a whole lot of them were probably interested in, trimming the bush.
You never know. I'm not going to judge anyone. You mentioned the Mr. Sacco, and that reminded me. I have some sad news to report. My camera bag over here, I have a number of pins and buttons on it.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and right on the front, you can't see it, but one of them was my Shimonetta button.
No!
Yeah, and it broke off, and I lost it.
Oh, no! It's the SOX?
It's the worm sock.
Yeah, the SOX mascot. Damn. Oh, well.
Well, this might make you laugh. I lost it in a Disney theme park.
That's great.
So some kid's going to find this button, hold it up, say, "Mommy, what's this?" I don't know. They'll take out their phone, they'll do Google Lens, they'll do the scan, and like, oh my God.
It's anime. And the husband's like, it's not just anime. It's an anime about being a degenerate anime. Yeah. Actually, the husband would be like, "Oh yeah, Shimonette, I remember that shit."
Yeah.
It was before I married you, hon. Before I started getting laid.
Before I threw my wife away. Did I say life or wife?
I actually, it was a soft consonant. I couldn't tell. Could be interchangeable. Who knows? Depends on how sad you are. It depends on how sad you are after yesterday too. That could be applied. But shit. Not to. I still actually have the end theme of Shimonetta in my playlist, and
oh my God.
Yeah, when I was taking people to and from work, when back last year when I was doing full time, it would pop up every once in a while. Somebody like, "Oh, you watch anime?" I was like, "Yeah, I watch anime." It's like, "What's this one?" It's like, I don't know. That's
it just showed up one day.
Yeah, it's whatever. I was just going through a bunch of end themes, and this one sounded cool and funky, so I used it. It doesn't have anything to do with you reporting me to HR at all.
Now, is Shimon one of those shows where, because most seasons are, an example, like 12 episodes, they go for 6 episodes, they have the same intro, same outro, and then the next 6 episodes, different intro, different outro. Did Shimon do that?
The course. It's like when you split what we think of as like a whole season into 2, and then like after a certain like plot point, the intro and the end change. I don't think Shimonetta did that. I think it was that way the entire way through, and that was a 24 episode season 2 series, which is kind of remarkable nowadays. But like I'm pretty sure like one of the ones that you're thinking of is Delicious in Dungeon, which pulled the bait and switch on the intro after like things got serious. Which sucks because I mean, a
lot of shows do that now.
Yeah, true. But I love that first core intro. The one done by what is it? Bump of Chicken or something. They also did the intro for Spy X Family. That's I think that's what the band's name is. Like being legit.
If it's a Japanese band, they got a weird name.
Guaranteed, yeah. It's like The Pillows is the sanest of Japanese rock band names.
Okay. Oh, all right. We got a mental note for next episode. We need to talk anime theme songs.
Have we not done that yet?
That's definitely something I want to talk about, but I want to have my notes ready because I'm sure, just like a grocery list, I'll start making a list and then I send it out and it's like, fuck, I forgot the milk or something.
Fucking duck motherfuckers, I fucking forgot this fucking shit.
Because I saw it somewhere on TikTok, someone threw out one of those, like, tell me your favorite whatever, and they said, what's your favorite anime intro? I was like, have you ever heard of Death Parade?
Oh, dude, Flyers is infamous.
Yeah.
People love that as like a pick-me-up kind of a tune. You'll hear fuckers talking about like playing it at the gym and shit.
Having like, no idea what the show.
It's so energetic and upbeat. It's like, yeah, it is. What's it from? I don't know. I don't want to tell you.
I don't want to ruin it. You know, all right. So then let's just talk about this real quick if you're able to. What comes to mind of a anime intro song that just does not fit the show whatsoever?
Well, aside from Death Parade, I'm assuming.
Do you think Death Parade is like the top of that list?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because by the intro alone, the show is an easy sell. But then after that first episode, you ain't selling it anymore. People are like either like entranced as hell, or most likely they're like, Jesus fucking Christ, why did you show that to me, and B, what the fuck is that intro doing? Softballing that existential fucking roundhouse right into... Nah.
That's like one of the greatest anime swerves of all television. You're thinking, oh, this is going to be a happy, fun... This is going to be so... I mean, it's talking about the afterlife, but still, it's going to be kind of fun. I'm going to love this. It's all peppy and poppy, and... Why are they throwing darts at each other?
Yeah. And that's I think that was the idea behind that intro, too. Because it wasn't to lend the viewer into a false sense of security, but more or less is like forced contrast. You know, like everything that's happening after the intro is just like so awful and harrowing, and then you get to listen to the intro on the next episode. And they're not They didn't change it after the first episode. It kept being like that, and I'm pretty sure there's like some, I don't know. Arch college of interpretation of philosophy that you can attach to that is like, just be grateful for what you've got. You never know what's going to happen. Blah, 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 something like that. But I like to think that like the directors are just dicks, and they want to catch you unawares. You know, metaphorically with your pants down.
One thing that even Death Parade did that a lot of shows do, which actually I'm guilty of hitting that skip intro button. Yeah. Because I don't want to be spoiled. And a lot of animes have spoilers in the intro, like showing you characters. that
but you gotta be
won't
canny
see till
about it,
halfway
right?
through. Huh?
You got to be canny about it, though, right? You got to be looking.
Yeah, but I mean, like Dan to Dan. Have you seen any of that yet?
Not yet. I'm kind of like, I'm in a position with Dan to Dan where I'm like not wanting to, because I started reading the manga about 2 years ago, and I know it's like finite. Like the anime can only go to this point, but I'm kind of like, are they going to start like tipping things off about the manga that I'm not caught up with, things like that. So no, I haven't touched that one yet.
I can't answer that, but but going back to what I said, that is one of those animes where during its intro they start like the faces of characters flash up on screen. You're like, oh, I haven't seen. I'm like 3-4 episodes in. I haven't seen them yet. I guess they're showing up sometime soon.
Yeah, that's like the character splash though. Like bringing it back to Delicious in Dungeon at the end of that, you see kind of like I don't know what the term for this is, but it's when you take a famous artistic piece and then you like put your own spin on it. Pastiche. Sorry, that's it. There's like a pastiche of famous Leonardo or Michelangelo painting where there's the main character of Delicious in Dungeon. What is his name? Lloyd is Spike's family. Can't remember. The Knight. You know what I'm talking about?
The Paladin.
He's like Yeah, he's like reaching up, and then somebody else is reaching back down. But then you see like all these characters behind him, and you're like, I haven't seen like 3/4 of these fucks. So they must be popping up in the last 2 episodes, or there's going to be a second core. But yeah, that's kind of like that. But you're not really clued in as to who those characters are, so it's not necessarily a spoiler. But there was an anime that
when it does click, it kind of triggers like, oh, that's what, like in Death Parade, you see the girl skating.
Right.
Like in the distance at one point, he's like, why is she skating? Oh, that makes so much sense now.
Yeah, and then you see like the marionettes and the symbologies there, and you're like, oh, okay. Everybody's like having their strings pulled, and it's like, no, it's not that at all. It's something twisty that we can't reveal here, because we do have some dignity. Some. But where it counts. Nerd shit. So, but there was an anime that I was watching very recently that they would take parts of the episode or the parts of the subsequent episode and put that into the intro, and you would have to really be looking for shit, and every once in a while there was something that was spoilery there, even though it was presented out of context. And I wish I could remember which one it was. I don't think it was Eminence in Shadow. No, it wasn't Hayuka. It was something that I was watching recently. I thought that was pretty cool the way they were doing it, because it was almost like a super like a mega soft tease, and it didn't give away that much, but it distinguished each episode from itself, or not from itself, from the other ones.
No, I got you.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Death Parade has. Oh, sorry.
Death Parade. Go.
But Death Parade would have to be like the biggest fucking swerve as far as like tone of the intro goes to the tone of the rest of the show. I can't think of any others that are that drastic,
Yeah. I don't know. Do you consider that a sin to be to skip the intro?
I don't know. That depends. Like.
There are some intros like, I can't skip it. It's too damn good. I can't.
If you're skipping if you're skipping Tank, you're a fucking communist. I don't care who you are. There's just that intro.
That option shouldn't even be available.
No, not one. But what's kind of tragic though in that way? The Lupin intro you can't skip either. I think, but like Cowboy Bebop's intro is functional. Like it gets you hype as shit for the show from that point onwards. Lupin's just like, this is a cultural linchpin. You gotta. Do you remember back in the day though when anime was super fucking niche and they were localized because it was too expensive to remove the logo or the logo frame or the splash panel from the intro. They would just like cut out intros completely. And yeah, right?
Dragon Ball Z is like one of the best examples of that, where they just completely redid the intro.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, that's if they had a budget.
Well, no, I think when it first came over and they first localized it, They redid the intro instead of Shala. I forget the full name of the original intro, but then
no idea. Not a Dragon Ball dude, unfortunately.
Then they created Rock the Dragon, which you know, for a '90s kid, is like, okay, fuck yeah, I'm in this. Sure,
this
go
juice.
for it. Yeah.
Well, the one that I'm thinking of, and this is going to be like my textbook example every time I think of this like phenomenon, was I never knew what the intro to Trigun was until maybe 10 to 12 years ago, because all the copies or all the versions that got brought over, I think through, it was either ADV. Now this must have been one of Funimation's first ones. They just dropped the intro completely, so you didn't hear you didn't hear that classic, you know. And the first time, even on the VHSs, they didn't have it. So you're paying like $400 for a 6 VHS collection, and you're not even getting the proper intro. It's like, man, fucking robbery. Yeah, that's one thing that anime's got better with nowadays, is like not overpricing the shit. But yeah, the first time I saw Trigun actually aired on Adult Swim with, you know, the Kana logo and everything. I was like, God, this kicks ass. We were denied.
Yeah.
Fuck that. So yeah, that was that. I remember like a couple of other intros would like, or a couple of other animes that would just start cold rather than have an intro. I think during the early days of Adult Swim, like Blue Gender and what was another one? I think Outlaw Star went without the intro too, which is a fucking massive crime. That intro kills.
Yeah, it didn't have the intro?
I don't think it did. Then again, that might have been after I was usually going to bed by that point, because I know you'd have to get through, what was that one show that was like absolutely miserable? It was like another mech show, but all the mechs were like 3D, and it was just like whatever. It sucked.
Between all the mech and Gundams and everything, I cannot keep track. I have no idea which one is which and all that.
I can't remember. It wasn't Big O, by the way.
That's a different. This is a
Big O house. Yeah, we're not disparaging that for shit. But it was like at the time they were like, you know, steering into anything that they could localize for pennies on the dollar. You know, this is a very Turner kind of a move. They just got lucky with Cowboy Bebop because, you know, anime hadn't taken off quite at that point, and it was fairly new. And honestly, I think it was Cowboy Bebop that more or less cemented it as a cultural presence afterwards. But like, they had some real shit like showing up in its wake too. It was like, what is this? Oh, it's like Gundam, but like this is Gundam at home. That's what this is.
Gundam at home.
And I'm gonna remember it like after the cast too, which is a bummer.
It's like comparing like gourmet cheddar cheese to American slices. Ugh.
Oh, ew, yeah. Oh, yeah, for the longest time, that was kind of robbery, too, wasn't it? It was like, you think of, like, cheddar cheese as being, you know, craft singles and shit, then you have it for the first time ever on, like, in, like, a French onion soup or something. You're like, God damn, this is what it's all about.
This is so refined and
those Europeans were onto something.
What the fuck are we doing with this stuff?
All right. Big Adult Swim mech anime. We're gonna take a quick dip into this, and if I don't see it within like 2 minutes, all right. It wasn't Eureka 7. I've never seen that. Okay, this is gonna be a fairly quick 2 minutes because it's one of these goddamn articles where it like shows you a thing, and then a whole bunch of links to all of their other articles, and now I'm miserable. So we're just gonna shut this down.
And that is what ADHD will do to you, ladies and gentlemen.
Big Adult Swim mech anime gets 4-part movie edit. It was only about the one show, and I mistakenly clicked on it, and now
you're down a rabbit hole.
No rabbit hole to be seen, unless it was like just a foot deep. Here's what's going on though, because Screen Rant is such a trash fucking website, my tab is like taking forever to close. Dude, it's... All right. How do websites even turn a profit? No, turn an operating not a profit, just like a working cost off of the shit that they're doing nowadays. There's like
nowadays AI.
yeah, AI is kind of like how they can like cut out the the bottom feeders and shit. Like, there's no more freelance market for writers anymore. And take her to leave that. Most bloggers kind of suck anyway, so whatever. But you click into one of these websites, and it shows you like a lean paragraph of some sort of like vaguely informative bit of trivia, and the rest of the website is literally just HTML5 like advertisements and links to other pages of a like nature, and it causes my browser to slow to a fucking crawl. These sites are not functioning. They're not functioning.
Yeah, when
How are they
gives you like 100 links to Temu.
Dude, fuck that, man. Like if dollars to donuts, if I pull up any of one of these like accursed sites on my phone, then I'm not getting that phone back for like 2.5 minutes. That's how goddamn bad they are. It's almost like I dare you to click on this page.
Yeah,
it's like I dare.
It just
not.
comes off as
Thank
cheap.
you.
Just the appearance when you see all this garbage. When you're trying to read a freaking article, it's one paragraph, 5 ads, one paragraph, 3 ads, one paragraph. It looks cheap.
Oh, you're going to the luxury pages. I don't even get like a paragraph. Some asshole with the byline there, and the rest of it's just literally thumbnails. Yeah. But
yes, apparently I'm reading the Wall Street Journal.
You can afford the Wall Street Journal? Cool.
Not for long. Can't afford shit.
Oh, that's a really good segue. That is an excellent segue. All right, so we were talking the other day about like the sprawling the sprawl of content distribution services, streaming services, right? Okay, so I don't know how we got onto this conversation, but at some point, you
don't
hit
question
me up
it, just
with,
do it.
Was that no?
Don't question it, just go with it.
All right. Well, I gotta take my pants off first. You gotta give me a second here.
He's a shower, not a grower.
I'm neither of those things right now, as a matter of fact. All right, you can't see that. That's good. All right. Yeah, the fat pants are not fattening today. So you would hit me up with the suggestion to like do I don't know. We don't have any people from like the FCC listening, so Federal Trade Commission, the FTC rather. The FCC is inert. They don't care. They don't.
Oh my God.
Okay, sorry. Of combining our streaming services, which is something that a lot of people do anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
no secret about it.
But your idea was that like, okay, well, here's a group of streamers that I'm not really getting my money's worth out of anymore. And then I was trying to like think about a lot of the stuff. Apparently, I'm just riding shotgun on your subscriptions for a lot of shit. And I had to think about this. I was just like, well, I've got some of my own because I knew I had Hulu and Prime. Prime, comes with its separate bracket of benefits. Yeah. But and I was trying to think of other ones, and eventually I came up with Shudder. But for the most part, yeah, I only really pay for Hulu and Shudder in like Peacock, Disney Plus,
Max.
Yeah, I'm completely just like fucking inhaling your exhaust on.
So got your mouth wrapped around the tailpipe.
Yeah. So it's like, oh!
God.
That's me watching Irma Vep on your Max account. I was just like gulleting down the New Adventures of Batman and Robin. Oh my God! That's some good old animation. But what brought you to this? What at what point did you say, all right, stop the madness. We need to like tighten this shit up like right now?
Well, I can get into it more later, but it's basically I need to tighten the belt and cut some things that I just don't watch that often, and especially with WWE signing this new Netflix deal, I need Peacock once a month, if that. And by the way, I have a VPN, so I can get around not needing Peacock at all. So I that was like the first thing to go for me.
So Peacock was like just done.
Yeah.
Was I watching anything on your Peacock? Yeah, I think I was watching Young Rock, and that was it. So I don't know. The thing about Peacock. Oh fuck, I was gonna watch Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. Shit. Oh well, I'll just torrent that, I suppose. See, that's the thing. If you're into it for the movies,
I think we now know why your phone acts so slow, Corey.
Oh, listen to me. I'm not a savage. I don't watch torrented movies on my fucking phone. Serious.
You do
That's
it on
where
your
all the
tablet.
emulation happens. Yeah. No, it's like my nephew Eli hooked me up with a pretty decent and steady alternative. So like whenever I need to sail the high seas, that's where I go. And nobody's ever going to know about it because you know how that works.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I don't either. As a matter of fact, I'm just completely gaslighting myself. But yeah, I was just watching that much on Peacock. So yeah, fair enough. You can ditch that without much of without losing that much. Max is an interesting one though, because there's a lot of stuff that like, I mean, Peacock had some obscure movies on it. Max has TCM, and during November, like all the time, I'm like pretty much down the TCM rabbit hole. Unfortunately, they get really tricky with their version of that outlet, in that they'll show you like the intro for like a really old movie, because you know they have Noir Alley and they always bump those, and they'll just show the intro and then that's it. So I'll get to watch like 10 minutes of somebody talking about, oh, Laura was produced or directed by Otto Preminger back in 1928 and all this other stuff. And I'm like, all right, we're getting into it here. It's me. And then it'll just go black and be like, where's the fucking movie? Oh, I have to get the TCM direct streaming service.
Oh.
Okay. But it doesn't do that for all the movies. It does it for half of them, which is the funny bit. So what happens eventually is that I'll be like geared up for this one movie, and then I'll be like, well, Otto Preminger also directed this, and they have that, so I'll watch that instead. So they're like shooting themselves in the foot with it, and I think that speaks to a larger fault within their business strategy for Max, in that they're leasing out a bunch of their other stuff to other streamers. Like you can watch Batman almost everywhere now, but for like a good 3 years, it was just a Max thing. They like pulled all of that shit in back from Netflix, from Prime. I remember you could watch Batman on Prime for a long time, and then they consolidated it all. And then like when David, what's his name? The guy with the Russian sounding last name, I don't know, Baryshnikov or some shit. When he took over, which is not, he's not a Baryshnikov. When he took over and started like parceling out all of their IPs on Max again, it was just kind of like, all right, so Max has like a lot of obscure shit, but everything that you came to expect from this one streaming service, all of a sudden, it's sloppy seconds. So its presence on anybody's Roku is kind of like almost forfeit, but not quite. I don't know. Basically, they've squeezed all the value out of their own service, and that is just such a weird fucking thing to happen. Like, why have it? Why have it by that point? It's fucking worthless.
Because they want to tease you with some juicy bits, but they want even though you're paying Max the money to watch their crap, they want you to pay even more if you want to watch the TMC plus whatever bonus channel they have.
Yeah, but nobody's paying for Max to watch 80-year-old movies. That's the thing. Like, it had Casablanca. Well, I am, yeah. Well, no, you are, actually.
Yeah. And, yeah, that's more to the point. But I also share my account with my mom, who loves the old stuff. She even pays for the TMC extra stuff. She pays for that.
Oh, see, I was thinking about that. I don't know. The TCF, the whole streaming marketplace to me is frustrating because there's a lot to keep up with as well. And I don't mean like in terms of watching patterns and everything else, but like I used to get my Noir fix on something called like the Warner Brothers Archive, which I paid like I think it was like $5.99 a month for, and it doesn't exist anymore. Going back to your earlier example about the WWE, you remember the WWE Network?
Oh yeah.
That was a good fucking app, but obviously their core product has been like shipped around or passed around more times than like a Playboy to summer camp, and the stuff that like made that app distinctive, like the Dinner for Three and whatever else, it's completely vanished now. It's totally lost media.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
the
pretty
network
sure
itself is completely gone, and not everything from their library transferred over to Netflix. That's what. So I'm like, where's everything?
Yeah, like Dinner for Three was fucking hilarious. I loved watching that show. I mean, half of the people that they made it with don't even work for the Federation anymore, but it was still really interesting. What's that? Or they're alive. Yeah, but it was still really interesting to watch, especially like the Divas one. I remember was really eye opening. And I forget which one it was that Daniel Ryback was a part of, and in witnessing the actual, like, the real him at that table, and like how fucking insecure and like self-doubting he was. it was an entertaining. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was an entertaining and kind of like a voyeuristic way, but it was really cool seeing those people like outside of their not only in-ring personas, but like their social media outside of the ring personas. Right,
their character.
Yeah,
I'm more surprised that you remember his name was Daniel at one point.
Because I remembered him after watching that episode of Dinner for Three.
Okay.
Because on screen or in the ring, he was just another like, feed me more. So tired. I mean, Goldberg did the same thing, and I remember Goldberg just for being an evil Santa Claus. That and not being as awesome as Gilbert, right?
Of course.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was cool, and it's not around anymore, which sucks. So you've got to you get into these things based upon like the exclusive content they provide. I think Netflix is going to be evergreen in that way. But if I'm going to be paying for Netflix, it's going to be for some shit like Delicious in Dungeon, which I could just go ahead and watch on, or Stranger Things. And it's been like a good 2 years since the last season, which left on a cliffhanger, by the way.
Still haven't finished that. I know they just finished or started filming the next season. I want to say they finished.
That would be the umpteenth report of that happening that I've heard since season 4 aired, or since season 4 was released. Which, by the way, was a bomb season. That was the shit. Like an actual return to form for that show.
It's not burning a hole in my pocket yet, but I'm going to check it out at some point. The other good thing about Netflix is they've really, in the last 4 or 5 years, they've really upped their anime game.
That's true. They have.
They're one of the leaders now. I mean, without a doubt. So, and for Netflix, they have just enough to keep me going. Max, I'll watch the Lord of the Rings on like the extended cuts as a background noise as I'm cleaning up, and it doesn't matter. I'll watch any of the Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings. Plus, then there's last week with John Oliver. They still have enough stuff for me to keep watching. I did have Hulu Live TV, and as soon as the Super Bowl was over, I cut that.
You're like done.
Yeah, I only need it during the fall and during football season. Anything else, I could just watch on regular Hulu. Yeah, basically. Hulu's maintained its value with me somehow. I don't know. Like if I'm not watching anime elsewhere, I'm generally catching it on there, and surprisingly. Yeah, I thought I watched something recently. Oh, no. It wasn't Max. It was, what the fuck was it? It's another, like, free streaming service that I catch like a lot of old and unlicensed anime on. That's been really reliable, and what a bummer that I can't remember the name of it. Because I'm pretty sure they'd appreciate, even though it's us, more people getting the word out. But I do remember a couple of them. Retro Crush is great. It's paywalled, but there's a lot of good free ones on there. And Crunchyroll ain't shit. What are you talking about? What are you doing? Again,
you show me a booger?
If it comes back, no. What the fuck is wrong with you? No, I'm trying to make a point, you jackass.
All right,
if it comes back to you, mention it in the goddamn Discord where people can join and listen in on the conversation.
All right, we'll talk about your boogers later in the Discord. I'll make a whole channel for it. Bob's Boogers.
some good chunks in there, man.
We're gonna have to cast H. John Benjamin as your voice, though.
Oh, that would be so fucking cool.
Sorry,
I'm not even
you're
gonna try and
making
do
a
an
point.
impression. No, I was just. If it comes back to you, just put it in the fucking Discord.
Right.
We'll have. We need an anime channel. I think we need to do that. It would just be you, me, and maybe Diego.
Yeah, probably.
And maybe Adam.
Maybe Adam. Adam's more or less of our like a video game industry specialist.
He is.
Yeah,
God bless him.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, whenever anime talk comes up, it just like pops into the TV show channel anyway, right? I mean, let's be real.
I think anime needs to have its own channel. That's my opinion.
Is there really enough traffic in the TV show channel to merit that, though?
Between you and me, yes.
All right. Fair enough. We can
You're not denying it.
No, that's true because I did actually. I'm the only people that talk about like Snap in the video game goodness or the video game channel is me and Adam, and I had to create like a separate thread just for that, so it stopped from clogging up everything else. Yeah. All right. Point to you. We'll do it later.
Well, we'll see.
We'll procrastinate on that.
So I wanted to talk about something. My past 7 days. Today is the Saturday after Valentine's Day, the 15th.
Yes. Yeah.
So cheap chocolate day. Everybody go out and
cheap chocolate day. Yeah. Avoiding everyone's gaze as you pass the bar that you got a little bit too drunk in. The day that was for me today. But yeah, I wish I could have remembered the CVS clearance sales. Bummer.
They'll still have them tomorrow.
I hope so. I could really use
Or
some comfort
they should.
chocolate right now.
Speaking of comforts, last Saturday, I don't know if you know this, but a little theme park news for you. That the entire Muppets area of Disney Hollywood Studios is going away.
Yeah.
So the two big things are obviously the Muppet Vision 3D movie,
Yeah.
which
Right.
everyone says is the last thing that Jim Henson worked on before he died.
God, it's that old?
It was the very last thing he worked on. So when you hear
Holy
Kermit's,
shit.
that is actually Jim Henson's voice.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, I'd heard that somebody was that Disney was actually archiving it and putting it on YouTube or something.
They've said archive. They haven't said how, but I believe they said they wanted to maintain its presence in the Disney parks in some capacity. Now, what
Right.
that means, speculation goes wild. So, whatever
What are they
you
wanting?
think.
What are they wanting to turn that area into? That's what I haven't heard about so far.
That
Or
whole
yet.
area is going to become a Monsters, Inc. area with a roller coaster door ride.
Cool roller coaster idea. Not really timely though, is it?
What do you mean timely?
Well, the last Monsters Inc. movie was 2013, I think.
Oh, they
Like
don't care.
more than a decade ago.
If it's IP they own, they don't care. They
own Muppets though.
Yeah, but that's old news.
I guess so. Like, have attendance rates for that part of the park been down or something?
I'm sure if there are numbers kept on that, it is not released.
Oh, that's really sad though.
But Muppets is not going away from the park.
Okay, good.
The Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster is going to be rethemed to Dr. Teeth's roller coaster.
Oh, that's clever. Okay, cool.
It was probably the one IP Disney did not own aside from the Twilight Zone, and now they have that. So get out Aerosmith,
Yeah.
put in Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem Band.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up question, not necessarily related to the Aerosmith ride, but I was like, there's got to be like a lot more like dated shit in the park that I'm going to continue mistakenly calling the MGM Studios park. But
You're not the only one.
yeah, good, thank you. That's reassuring, kind of. But like that was definitely from like that's like the most stubborn holdover from the Eisner era in my eyes is the MGM park. Because like Pleasure Island's been eradicated. Disney Springs Disney Springs is not downtown Disney anymore.
It's Disney Springs.
Yeah, because now it's Disney Springs, of course. But there was like all of MGM seemed to me like to be super dated, and as enjoyable as like the great movie ride was, and the Muppet stuff was. It was all very like 90s esque, and Aerosmith to me seems to be like the most glaring example of that, because anybody that's going to be going on a roller coaster like nowadays is going to be like well below the age of people that used to listen to Aerosmith when it was on the fucking radio. So, nobody that like owns Toys in the Attic is going to be on that roller coaster and not feeling it by the time they get off. Probably feeling it at the end of the queue, to be honest with you. Oh god, I don't want to get on this thing. My lumbago's acting up. So it's like that's kind of like a lapsed, cultural presence. And as great as the boys from Boston are, that IP could have been let go of like a long time ago. So that's a pretty canny move, and good on them for it. It's a good fucking coaster to start with, but like Aerosmith, like I don't know. I mean, you could make an AC/DC and it would be newer.
The ACT, oh god.
Yeah, it'd be more current, technically.
Yeah, I heard an ad on the radio a few days ago that they're touring again. I'm like, with who? How?
It's not with who.
Is it a virtual tour?
The how is more appropriate, and I do believe it is cybernetic implants by this point.
Yeah.
They're all just like edge runners. They're chromed out.
They are. But going back to Muppets, the Muppets area. So Muppets 3D Vision, Muppet Vision 3D is one of the attractions. The other major attraction is the eatery, the PizzaRizzo kitchen, where it's the city's best rated pizza. It's wrap pizza. That's the joke.
I thought they turned it into like the Ratatouille diner.
Oh no.
No, I'm sorry. I thought they turned. Oh, good.
They opened up a rat restaurant at Epcot in the France Pavilion.
That's the Ratatouille. Yeah, okay. So, all right, where was Pizza Planet then?
That Pizza Planet was there first, and then that became PizzaRizzo's.
Oh, damn. All right. So
just to bring like the whole area into like the Muppets kind of
yeah, that
world.
checks out, because for the longest time it was like that was kind of like the fragmented part of MGM Hollywood. Because there was
Don't hurt yourself.
There was the Muppets area, but then they also had like the Honey I Shrunk the Kids park, which that was also another stubborn holdover. And more power to them. I love that playground area. And then Pizza Planet was like shoved in between the two of them for the longest time, and it was like this is very fragmented.
Yeah, it's very like spot puddings. Like we're gonna put Honey I Shrunk playground over there. We're gonna put what do we have this week? Tiny Toons? No, we don't have that. How about Ninja Turtles? We got Ninja Turtles. Put the Ninja Turtles in there.
Did they have a Ninja Turtles thing over there?
There was a Ninja Turtle street performance show at MGM.
Okay.
For a very short time.
Yeah. And it was pretty much like you described. It was like whoever was planning that bit of the park was like, oh, I've got all this real estate, or what IPs have we got? And then they just started to dartboard the shit onto a map of that part of the park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But PizzaRizzo, that's going to be one of the casualties, along with the Italian restaurant that's behind it called Mama Melrose. Mm-hmm. I'm not really going to shed a tear for Mama Melrose. I think it's like a equivalent to an Olive Garden. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's probably the only reservation you can get if you need one for that day. But go to PizzaRizzo, have the meatball sub. It's really, really freaking good. The pizza is skippable at best.
Hopefully it'll keep the sub for you.
Well, that would be nice, but I'm not going to hold my breath. But last Saturday, a week from today, week ago from today, a number of Diz Twitter and former cast members decided to hold the PizzaRizzo Prom. Upstairs in the restaurant, there is a wedding pavilion gala dining room that has a disco ball and chandeliers, and I never knew this room was in there. It's got ribbons and fancy lights, and it looks like a wedding reception style kind of area. A lot of people, it's open, all the time. You can go in there, and it's known as probably one of the quieter places in all of the park to just get away and sit. So that is where we held the PizzaRizzo Prom. I attended it, and I was the photographer. I just volunteered my services. I took a whole bunch of photos. We did like prom-style photos. We did dancing. There were awards. Alicia Stella from Theme Park Stop was there. She won an award. So
anybody make out with Rizzo?
There was a Rizzo puppet or a plush figure going around, and I was taking photos with people and the puppet, and some got a little too familiar with him.
Oh dear, no.
Well, I'm going to tell you that Touring Plans is going to do at the end of the month, they're going to do a review of everything that goes on in the park, and they're going to highlight my photos as part of their report. So look for that on touringplans.com. That's going to be cool.
Hell yeah.
So that was a week ago Saturday. The very next morning, I had to fly to Nashville, Tennessee. Oh my God. I have never been to Nashville.
That's tragic, man. Like, Nashville's the tits, and easily one of the most underwritten cities in this country.
Well, if you're looking at the calendar from when I said I went, I ended up landing on Super Bowl Sunday, get to my hotel, find one of my coworkers because I went up there for a job, and we go to like this real redneck dive bar restaurant, whatever. People are cheering for the national anthem. I was like, oh, fucking get me the fuck out of here. What?
I was gonna say, which street did you get to stay on, or what was your hotel at?
My hotel was really close to the arena, but everything in like downtown Nashville is kind of condensed. It's all walkable distance. That's
the downtown that Nashville likes people to see. Like, especially if you're like near Music Row and you saw all that neon. Were you working at the Bridgestone?
Yeah, that's where our show was, but we were staying like just like a mile outside, so it was within walking distance. And we just walked up and down. My coworker and I, we walked up and down Broadway and 2nd Street.
Yeah.
I never really had. I knew Nashville was big for the country.
Yeah.
That is an understatement.
It's big for everything. Anything that's associated with... You know what's funny?
No, it's
like
not.
What's that now?
It is big for the country.
Well, it's still big for the country.
It's got a little sprinkling of rock and hip-hop and whatever. No, it's country, my friend.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So there's a lot of names that people will associate with Nashville, and it's usually your icons like your Johnny Cash and whoever else, Sun Records, for one thing. But as far as like the music industry goes, it's basically the cradle of the entire fucking industry over there, and that's from like mostly the business side and also the production side. So the name that I always associate with Nashville is Ben Folds, and apparently a lot of other people have kind of started doing that too, but in a more of an Ellen DeGeneres sort of a way, because apparently the guy's a huge douchebag. But it's like I was like super into, I still am super into like Ben Folds stuff and whatnot. But hearing one of his not hearing one of his albums, but being part of his like early Twitter like live performances was how I became interested in Nashville and like started looking it up as like a possible place to retire to. And there's like so much shit going on over there, and like in terms of like cost per value, it's like crazy good. But what a lot of people write off about that is if you're not like culturally attuned, you're going to think, oh, Tennessee is it's literally hill full. It's like literally hill folk and moonshiners, and it's like, well, that's cartoon land bullshit. No,
that's the locals.
That's not even kind of true. No, that's people that live like 50 miles outside of Nashville. Honestly, it's got like crazy culture, and if you're like a foodie dude, I can think of like maybe 2 other cities that sit in front of Nashville for that value. Chicago's one of them. Atlanta might be the other, but that's a toss-up. Like, I've only gotten to spend like a handful of days in Nashville in my entire life, and like I keep looking for excuses to go back. Unfortunately, our industry doesn't really allow for those. But At some point, I'd like to be like, I'm just going to like fly over there, hang out in a hotel that's like on the outskirts of the town for a little bit, maybe hop in the music row like one night or whatever, but get the rest of it and see what else there is to see about this town. Because I'm pretty sure I didn't experience like even a quarter of what it has to offer.
Yeah, I was there for one night, and I was told that because it was Super Bowl Sunday, which is hilarious, I'll get to that, the streets were basically empty.
Yeah.
No one was out. The streets are normally packed with people going up and down the street all over the place. Not on this night. From what I experienced was every single business up and down Broadway, bar, restaurant, club, boot or hat place. It's one of those. It's like there's a 8 out of 10 chance it's one of those 5.
Yeah.
And every single one of them had live performance going on inside. We'd walk by window after window after window after window, and there's a couple of people with a guitar, a drummer, or whatever. They're just playing. And because it was Super Bowl Sunday, I thought it was hilarious that people were sitting at the bar, not watching the music, but watching the game, just completely ignoring the live music that's going on. And I was like, that's got to be like one of the more humbling nights to perform ever.
Not really. A lot of those guys are getting fucking paid. That's one of the coolest things about that city. It's why a lot of musicians...
you're not going to do it unless you're not getting paid.
Well, of course, but there's so much in the way of venue in that town, which is why a lot of like audio technicians and like freelance musicians and so on and so forth move over there, because there's always going to be work. There's so many places to be playing at. It doesn't care if anybody's like paying attention to you. You're being paid to play the fucking guitar, and then that's it. Hopefully, you've got another gig like lined up the next day. And the difference between working at some place like that understands the business and is built on top of it, and playing somewhere in like Manhattan, well, there's plenty of venues over there, but there's a pretty narrow ratio of availability versus like staff that's willing to play. So musicians don't get so much work over here. That, weirdly enough, I kind of live on a street right now that's like a little bit of, it's like a micro-sized music row kind of. So it's mostly DJs and shit, but there was a bar that opened up over there about like a month back called Music and Industry, and its whole thing is like the history of rock, blah blah blah. So they actually have like a live band there every once in a while, not every once in a while, every night. And the one time I went there to talk to the bartender about like all the vinyls and stuff they had on the walls, I was asking like, so when do you have shows? And they're like, we literally have shows every night that we're open, which is from Wednesday to Sunday night. And I was like, oh wow, really? And how many is that? It's like 3 shows a night, because nobody else that lives in Connecticut and in the northern part of New York that does music gets a whole lot in the way of work. They have to fly elsewhere for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Nashville, everything happens within the city.
Yeah, every single business has live performance. Every single business, and I do mean every single business, has a neon sign out front. And this includes, on both fronts, the local Taco Bell that's on 2nd Street.
Oh, I better.
There was a live performance with neon signs out front of a freaking Taco Bell. I was like, that's just a little... Okay, I had to take a picture of it. It was just so freaking hilarious.
I'll line my ass up for a Taco Bell's got live performances. I don't give a shit. Did they still have an Arby's there with the 10-gallon hat outside?
I didn't see an Arby's.
Ah, damn it. That reminded me, though, the second city that I was thinking of that had a pretty decent food culture was, like, surprisingly enough, Indianapolis. It wasn't Atlanta. Indianapolis was the first place I ever had chicken and waffles at, yeah.
Okay.
Try not to be shocked, right?
I'm trying not to be, but I still a little bit am.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I could talk for a little while about that.
Yes, I know. I'm quite aware of it. We're looking at the recording time.
That's what I do.
That's what you do. Those of you
Once again, the podcast format is devalued by your visual antics. God damn it.
I just did a simple, gentle shrug. All right, so we had the show in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
I was flown up there to do a particular job that ended up getting canceled the night before.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just I milled around with the other audio guys. I just shadowed them, and I helped them set up for the show that night. Then I flew back, and I'm sad to say that was probably the last thing I am doing with this company. Not that I'm Vince McMahon, you're fired. No, it's not like that. It's more like, because I'm a 1099 employee, it's like, we're ending your department. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, as of right now, it looks like I'm done with what was essentially my dream job. I never thought I would work for this company. It was almost 4 years. It was like 3 years and 11 months. It was almost full 4 years. And I never thought it would actually go away. But the thing that bothers me the most, and I'm going to try not to rant here. My company eliminated the entire department that I was in, which is basically, it affects 4 people, but 3 of those 4 have the capability of going off and doing other stuff. I was the only one that just did that one particular thing in that department, so sucks to be me.
Is it at all possible that that's why they brought you up to Nashville?
No.
No?
Well, I think they brought me up to Nashville as a courtesy to try and train me onto this new thing that they were going to do, and the new thing ended up getting axed before we even did it. So the new thing is not a thing anymore. No, it's not going to happen anymore.
What? Okay. What? Should I ask for context here, or is that something you can't really talk about?
No, because it's not something that's ever hit air, because it's not something that was ever pulled off. Will it come back? That's not looking good, since they tried it 2 weeks in a row, and 2 weeks in a row it got canceled. So,
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right.
And they just haven't bothered to try after that, or if they have, they're not scheduling me for it.
Now the company that you just left is not the only game in town, right?
Like, literally in town? Yes.
Literally in town, of course, but like, let me put it to you this way: it's not the only game in the state.
I know what you're talking about, and that's not outside the realm of possibility, but it's also a long shot because of factors. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
My main complaint is when they canceled my department, they didn't exactly tell me why. It kind of word of mouth went from the head of my department to my immediate supervisor to my coworker to me. That's how I found out, like right before we were about to do a live show. It's like, oh, okay. I guess I'll start updating my resume during the commercial breaks. Yeah, that's the thing that I've been finding out harshly throughout this entire freelance experience is that I think that your position was kind of like a rare one, because you were like a freelancer, but it was also for a particular function, like a particular utility. So yeah, the job I had was unique, that it wasn't done anywhere else.
Yeah.
In all of broadcasting.
Yeah.
Not live, at least.
I was in kind of a similar situation in 2021 when I first came up to New York, and the job that they had me for was a very strange one. And they actually shit-canned that entire department at the beginning of last year, actually, not this year. But still, it was a similar sort of situation. Now, thankfully, this is New York, or New York-ish, you know.
It's New York.
Yeah. So word of your worth kind of gets around. So every once in a while, you'll get like an odd call and be like, "Hey, can you work this show immediately?" And if you can't, then they'll be like, "Okay, well, I've got your name and number now, so expect it to happen." which is literally what happened when I first moved up and started working for, the soccer people. And other people started calling me like as soon as I was in town. They were like, "How did you get this number?" What? I don't get it.
Who are you? And what are you doing here?
What are you doing? Oh, you want to pay me to do stuff? Oh, okay. I guess we can just keep talking. And eventually that, led to me being flown around the country every once in a while, especially when like business picked up a lot. I'm thinking that like when, if there's somebody like within your production bubble is going to other places in the state that you're in Florida, they're going to pass your name along. It's not going to happen immediately, unfortunately. Like I found out that like some places up here that are like giving my contact information, they waffled for like 2 fucking months until they really needed somebody. And it was in that moment that they were like, okay, get over here. And now that turned into a regular gig. You weren't flown out as a courtesy. That's still an investment that has to be made in personnel. All right. Why would somebody do that? Nobody here
that you're thinking that, but I like that you're thinking that, but it's just not the case. It really isn't. It was a courtesy.
Okay.
It was an attempt to like, hey, we're sorry. You want to do this?
That never fucking happens, dude. We were like in front of a rampaging semi-tractor trailer of failure when that entire network that we worked for collapsed. They were just like, yeah, we feel bad about it, but fuck you. And then they really only kept us on when they realized that they had to be operating for another 8 months because of COVID. But otherwise, besides some like alligator tears, we were told that like we just weren't going to have money anymore, that we were just not going to have a job. That happens, and the like part of like the rude awakening of doing freelance is that like in TV that happens all the fucking time.
Except for when that happened to us, we got a severance because we were actually employees.
Because we were full time.
Yeah,
right. But like, I mean, I hate to tell you this, but like, a lot of the freelance business up here is done through shell companies because they want to be able to tell you, or at least hang on to staff full time, but without the full time entanglements of it. So when they make a department redundant, such as with CBS Sports Radio, like last year, that was it. They were like, hey, you guys are going to be working here after this month. And they didn't have to do anything about that. They were like, no severance, no payout of benefits or anything like that. You guys just, you got to go work somewhere else now. And that is it. But those people, they stayed working because people knew people and those people needed more people.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I still have the drawing you did for me with the Hunter S. Thompson joke. I'm looking right at, or his quote.
Oh, you still have it up?
Yeah, it's right here. It's within arm reach. I'm not going to turn the camera, but yeah, it's the TV business is a cruel and shallow money trench. A long plastic hallway where thieves and pimps run free and good men die like dogs. There's also a negative side. And the positive side, however, is that the good men are kept separately from the pimps and the thieves, and they don't die like dogs. They don't die like dogs because they work forever, and then they die on the job. But usually when they're like 80, like so many of the operators that I've been on the road with in the last year they're like in their actual retirement phase, and they're still kicking it. That's the craziest thing to me. So my follow-up question to you is going to be, this hotel room that they put you in, how big was it? It was a hotel room.
It was a hotel room?
Yeah. It was a Sheraton, right. I can tell you that. It was nice.
It was a Sheraton? It was a nice one? All right.
But it was also the same hotel that the rest of the staff was in.
Of course. I mean, they're going to put everybody up in the same facilities, but they still paid for those facilities. A couple of nights ago, we had a snowstorm hit. Twice in a week, as a matter of fact. The first night, they offered to put me up in a hotel room. I said, I live literally over in Norwalk. And they're like, yeah, but you've been doing a lot of shit for us, and we kind of want to have you nearby for your next shift. So I was like, all right, go ahead and put me up at a hotel room in Stamford. And they put me up in a suite. they put me in a place. They put me up in a place whose kitchen is bigger than the one that I pay rent on right now.
Okay, if there was an emergency situation going on, that could have been the only room they could get their hands on.
No, everybody else that I knew that was working my show stayed in that hotel as well. Now, the next show, things were a little bit looser. The hotel that they had me in at that moment was like all booked up, so they put us over at the Marriott, which is kind of scuzzy, but it's still, it's expensive, is what I'm saying. So you could like think of that as like the company hiring you is like something that they could expense or at least write off in taxes. But the thing is that they still thought of you. They still had your name. And they're probably not going to contact you for at least a good month, maybe not even 2. But they're going to contact you at some point because you've got people behind the scenes that know you and know how you work. So they're going to bring you back in at some point. In the meantime, you still have like, I think you've told me you've got like other opportunities from, people that we knew mutually through our network. And they're going to keep trying to throw you gigs as well. That's not going to stop. The trouble is balancing.
I've reached out. Oh God. The applications. I can go on for a good hour about the bullshit about that. It's like,
yeah.
Give us your resume. Okay. Now give us your work history, but it's on the resume. Why do I have to list this? That's just like little nuances I have with applications. And then about half the applications you see are completely false. They're not really hiring. They're just gauging the market and whatever.
Yeah.
That should be fucking illegal.
Yeah. A lot of shit in corporate America should be illegal, but it unfortunately is not.
Getting back to the reason my department was closed, and I was never given a reason. Which, when you're not given a reason, you're allowed to wildly speculate, and it comes down to one of 2 things, either finances or creative. So if it was a creative decision, that makes me a little upset, because if you don't like the work I'm doing, tell me you don't like this. You rather this or that. Don't just say, oh, just cut it, kill it.
Yeah, but it wasn't just you.
No, it wasn't just me. It was a team. So
yeah,
but
so it's probably
a lot of those nights I was the lead, so everything fell on my lap. But yes, it probably was financial, especially since I heard that they want to cut somewhere around $40 to $60 million from the budget. Which, why? Every single broadcast we do, they did. They would tout, this is a sellout show, we're having a record sales, record ticket gate, record this or that, we're making money hand over fist, we're having like our most profitable year ever, because you're charging like $300 per ticket now. It's insanely expensive to go to one of their shows.
Yeah.
And people who work for your company who want to go to the shows on their off day have to buy tickets through a discount site that, even though the show is not a sellout, they have somewhere around 7,000 seats. Hey, can I get a comp seat? No, but here's a sales you can use. Oh, gee, thanks. There's... Try not to lose it.
Yeah.
If it's creative, tell me you don't like it. Now I will fix it. If it's financial, you're lying out your ass. You have the money. My department was the cheapest department in all of production. We worked remotely. You didn't have to fly us out. You didn't have to put us up in a hotel. We worked for a simple rate. You fed us. We went home. Day was over. That was me clapping my hands.
That was actually him, like, pointing his ass straight at the camera and going...
Yeah, well, I've done that before.
Yep. I don't know. I'm not buying the doom saying, but it does suck that it happened.
Yeah, it immensely sucks. So until... And I know how slow things move. Things do not move at a fast pace. So earlier today, I tried being an Uber Eats driver.
Oh, fuck, no. You should have asked me about that. Well, okay, well, what are you going to do, right?
Yeah,
I gotcha.
I needed to get my feet into something, even if it's until the calls start coming in, I gotta do something.
True.
And when I'm getting rejection after rejection after rejection after, we're gonna go in another direction, or your qualifications don't fit our needs, or it's probably I was asking too much money. They want to pay minimum wage, and I'm like, I'm not working minimum wage. No, screw you. I got 30 years of TV behind me.
You're gonna get a lot of that in Florida, though. No unions. You know that.
Well, yeah, I know, but this also goes towards like touring gigs, shows that go around and whatever. Similar to what I was doing. I'm getting kind of the same response. But I tried the Uber Eats. I think I did it for 5.5 hours today.
Yeah.
Drove 120-ish miles.
Yeah.
I don't know how many stops I did, but I came home with about $41.
Yeah. That's the tragedy of Uber Eats. Everybody that you deliver to is a fucking cheapskate, and Uber doesn't guarantee you an hourly bottom line. I was gonna say
it also doesn't guarantee you a tip.
That goes. Unfortunately, that goes with saying, which fucking sucks. But what I was gonna suggest to you is look into DoorDash. They're a bit more. They follow a more traditional business model, recruiting model, which means you do have to work like a set amount of hours per day, but they also guarantee you a return. It's a shitty return, but it's better than no tips.
Well, the problem with DoorDash, because I signed up for both at the same time, and I started with DoorDash. The problem is with DoorDash, when you're first starting, they want you to pick like a time frame that you're available to.
Right.
Like say, okay, I'm available for the next hour. Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
So they send you a notice, and they want you to make a $150 drive for a possible tip or no tip or whatever. And I said, I'll just wait for the next one. So I hit X, and the thing with DoorDash is it cancels you out. If you decline an offer to make a delivery, you get canceled out until your time frame lifts.
Oh, ouch. Okay, I didn't know
with
that.
Uber Eats, at least I have the option to say, no, I don't want to do this delivery. With DoorDash, you have to do the delivery that they want you to do.
Okay. That I didn't know. That's kind of...
I'll probably end up trying that the next time I have to do this. We'll see.
Does it seem like DoorDash like prioritizes drivers, like those that have seniority are allowed to deny delivery?
I can't answer that because I've only done 2 or 3 deliveries with DoorDash. The rest of the day I did Uber Eats, and I kind of like the way Uber Eats is set up. So if you're in process of doing one delivery and there's a pickup with a drop-off in the same direction that you are currently heading, they'll signal you like, hey, do this one as well. It's like, okay, it's along the way. I can pick up, drop off, all in like a straight line kind of deal. Or I'm free to negate it. It's like, nope, I'm gonna focus on this right now.
That's the nice thing about Uber Eats is that if there comes a delivery that's like, okay, this is like 10 miles away for an order, for like a single Taco Bell pickup, you're like, fuck that, no. But the reason the way Uber Eats' algorithm works is that it goes by distance first, and then it goes by denial secondly. So like, if there's somebody, and this is how you find out that like a lot of assholes deliver for Uber Eats. If there's somebody who's like within like 20 feet of where that order is being placed, and then they deny that order, it'll just keep like radiating out and out and out until it gets to you. At which point it's like there's no money in it for you whatsoever because of the wear and tear on your car and the likelihood that you won't get anything for that tip. By the way, the order is literally $8. So
yeah, I don't think Uber Eats works like that. I think they basically is like, all right, so we have this amount of drivers in this area. This guy's available. He's closest. Offer it to him first.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And if he doesn't offer it, then it gets kicked out further because it's not like another driver is just going to like all of a sudden appear in that area as well. that isn't already on like another drive. So, oh fuck, I was going somewhere with this. Hang on a second. Damn it. So basically, what happens is that like that order, when once it's first rejected, kind of like gets some sort of a stink on it, because you're not going to be making that much. You're not going to be making that much on like such a small order to begin with, because you have to make a percentage on it. That's in addition to the possibility of a tip. Unfortunately, a lot of fast food orders are not going to come with a tip unless you're near a college campus, because daddy's money goes a long way. But what happens is that like the more people that reject it, if it gets rejected for too long for one thing, then it becomes like an opportunity that kind of like hangs around in your app for somebody else to like pick up. But even then, like by that point, it's like, oh, an opportunity. I wonder how much I'm going to make on that shit. So that's kind of like where like Uber Eats' fundamental flaw is, in that like if you place an order for somebody and they're snotty about it, and there's nobody around that's like desperate enough to to make that distance for the tip that they might not get, then like your order is going to take fucking forever. Every once in a while, like have you ever had like an Uber Eats order just all of a sudden like disappear or vanish? It's usually what happens. Nobody wants to pick it up. Oh, I've had a couple. So especially when I lived in Chicago and it was like mostly bike traffic, it was like a gamble on whether or not I'd get that order, especially if it was snowing outside. So I don't know. I think it's something that like they really should make an earnest attempt to like overhaul, but I don't think they're going to, because this model works just fine for the company, if not for the drivers.
I was learning that they do charge the order person, is it the customer, I guess. They charge them based off of distance. So when I would see, he's like, hey, this offer will give you $6. Like, oh, that's gonna be a hefty drive. Okay, let's see.
I'm going to Jacksonville for that $6.
Oh, I had one that was a pickup in Maitland and a drop off in Mount Dora.
What the fuck?
The delivery was $9 and they gave me a $6 tip. But that was my longest drive of the day.
Wait, so it was Maitland. What was the order? Can I ask?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't remember? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a sealed bag, and I just have a first name and an address.
No, not like what was the order? Where did it come from? Like, where did the order from?
That was a great thing. It came from a New York deli that was inside an office building. So I pull up to the office building, and I just see an office building. I don't see a restaurant anywhere.
Oh, like, so like a cafe in an office park. Like this is Maitland.
Yes.
Maitland. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I walk into the office, and it's like a medical office place, whatever. I open the door, and I see the deli like off in the corner, and I'm like, oh, this is like a building cafe that's exclusive for these people, but it's also apparently I can pick up food here.
That's fucking funny. You know, it was probably an order. Who probably ordered it was somebody that works in that building that was working remotely that day, and they were like, "Man, I need my."
That is not the situation.
Based off
the house the house I dropped it off at was in Tavares, which is right outside of Mount Dora.
Right. Yeah.
And the owner worked. I'll just say worked for law enforcement.
How the fuck did they know that cafe existed?
I don't know. When you pull up to a house and there are 3 law enforcement vehicles in the driveway, there's either a bus going on or they live there, and either way, I just want to drop off the shit and go.
It's so fucking funny. Maybe the guy you delivered to had like labs over there one day, and he was like, God damn it, this grinder's amazing. I'm gonna remember this for the rest of my life. And every Uber Eats order they place has to be from that one office cafe. And woe betide that place if they ever run out of that grinder on that day. That's fucking funny as hell. Like, how do you know? Have you been? Were you even here at some point? Like,
yeah, halfway there, I'm like, how much farther is this? I'm another 10 minutes away. Holy shit! And I was on one of the toll roads where you're allowed to drive like 75 miles an hour. I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna hurt.
So realistically speaking, since I used to work a job where I had to like make a lot of deliveries to that part of Maitland, it was probably if this person was law enforcement. It's a guarantee they've had to like pick up or drop off legal documents or insurance documents at that one building. So I'm guessing there was like a legal entity somewhere else in that office park as well.
Again, it's my favorite game. If you don't know the facts, wildly speculate.
Oh, and speculate I will, because otherwise that situation is beyond fucking absurd. That's like oh my god. That's like picking up something from like Ruth's Chris and then running it down to a trailer park in Lake Alfred. It's like, how the fuck have you ever been up here? or had anything off the Ruth's Chris menu, dude?
It wasn't like they lived
amazing.
in Mount Dora and then they worked in Maitland. All their vehicles had like Tavares and Mount Dora and whatever fuck you county vehicles that were in their driveway.
Fuck you county is one of the lesser known Floridian districts. It's true. Yeah. Very obscure that. All right. That sucks. I don't know. Well, hopefully that like picks up for you somehow, but like, I don't know. Is there any sort of like full-time opportunities you've been looking for like up there? I mean, I hate to say it, but you might have to like work local for a little bit.
No, there was a photography job that I was applying for. They work with a restaurant. I don't know. I was thinking maybe like one of the dinner and show places like Pirates or Medieval Times or something like that. Yeah. That they hire photographers. It's a sales position. You take the photo, you try to sell them the prints and try to upsell them or whatever. I did the interview yesterday, and by the end of the day, they said, yeah, all of our positions are full at the moment. Well, why the fuck did we go through all that?
That's the worst thing about looking for jobs is like the hiring like obligations that they have to do. Like you've seen like listings for NBC and stuff on LinkedIn, but they only put them up there with every intention of hiring somebody that's already in the building.
Oh yeah. When I see the only position available, director, it's like, well, that's not from. Even if I apply for it, I know that's definitely not going to go to somebody outside the building.
Yeah, and that actually should be illegal, by the way. Ugh. Anyway. Yeah.
But to end it on a happy note, earlier today I did pick up an A2 job, a one-time A2 job for a preseason baseball game.
Cool. All right.
Never done that before, but I'll be with somebody who knows what's going on, and he could like show me the ropes and everything. But and that's just a one-time thing. So hopefully it continues. I don't know what this voice is.
That's your prostate exam voice. How do I know that?
Yeah. How do you know that?
I have eyes everywhere. And ears.
Yes.
And fingers. Dr. Jellyfinger? Line 2?
Doctor.
No, that is a Fletch Lives reference, I think.
No. Same actor.
Same actor.
Wait. I'm fairly certain. It's definitely my mindset. Not Fletch. Did they do it in Fletch? Maybe, but definitely not Fletch. Same actor though.
Oh, okay. See, I thought it was from Fletch Lives, where they went like hard comedy with everything instead of like the half comedy, half detective procedural thing that they were doing with the first one.
Spies Like Us.
It was Spies Like Us?
Doctor?
No shit.
Doctor.
Well, Doctor was, Dr. Jellyfinger, I think, was Fletch
Well, that's
Lives,
what the fuck I'm doing.
Oh, okay. All right. So, same actor, but different bits.
Yes.
Is what we're going for here.
Same asshole, yes.
Oh, speaking of that asshole, did you get to see Saturday Night yet?
Oh, the 50th anniversary?
No, the movie. Although, God, this is all happening like within the same year. Crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, no, the actual movie about like the supposed like the 90 minutes leading up to the first episode of Saturday Night Live.
No, I didn't know this was a thing.
It was, yeah. It was directed by Jason Reitman, with his frequent collaborator on the Ghostbusters movies, Gil Kenan, and the cast was like. The cast was crazy because they're like insanely talented, but it was a whole lot of like, if you're, older than 30, a bunch of no-namers, except for like one or two dudes. The one dude that I recognized was the guy that played the Riddler in Gotham, Corey Michael Smith. He played Chevy Chase in the movie. He was really fucking good, like chameleon-like almost.
It's just called Saturday Night. That's it.
Just Saturday Night, yeah, and it should be on.
I gotta look for this.
It should be on Peacock.
Of course it's on fucking Peacock.
It's probably on Peacock. God damn it. Sorry. I was thinking it might have been on Max too or something, but probably not. Hang tight. One sec. I want to be sure of this.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Okay. But I went and saw that back in, it actually was released in theaters in October of last year. So many days ago.
It is on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. All right. Well, look who wins tonight. I can't watch it because my beef with Netflix is like 3 or 4 years old by this point. But we didn't get into that. But I'm not going to get into it because that would take a while. But yeah, it was really cool. The thing is that like working in TV, you can kind of like see where the threshold between bullshit and how that bullshit is informed lies pretty solidly. But I actually never finished the movie because something happened that I couldn't have anticipated like ever. That was that I had a panic attack in the middle of it. So by that point, I was still having trouble sleeping, right? That happened. So that could have been like a precursor too. But the thing is that like at some point in the movie, they really began to like exaggerate and press the point that like live TV is a chaotic business, but it was in the most gratuitous way possible. So lots of noise,
emphasized it,
lots of chaos, and I was like, okay, I'm absorbing too much by this point, and I began to like kind of like gloss over a little bit. I was like, oh fuck this, so I had to leave the theater. Which, hey, means I've got another movie to finish at some point whenever I get around to it. But yeah, that was unfortunately why I stopped. Up till that point, it was fucking fantastic, and it would make a really good double bill with the one National Lampoon documentary that came out about 10 years ago. I think it was called like Drunk Stupid Genius or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I gotta check that out.
That, as far as I know, is on Hulu, so you can see that whenever.
Oh, well, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a good jumping off point.
Yeah. We're going to be... The next episode is going to be what? Anime intros to look up?
Yeah, let's start our homework early.
All right.
So we're not caught off guard.
Excellent.
Because that's probably just going to be you and me again.
Yeah. And whoever's listening to this right now is like, I thought they were going to talk about video games. Whatever.
Hey, we did a little bit.
We did a little bit, yeah. Why not? And I'd like to be able to play at least a little bit of Rival so I could have something to come back with,
Okay.
Yeah. Because, right, I'm just not living up to my
I haven't played a game
there.
aside from my phone in such a long, a number of weeks. I just haven't had the time. But I'll get around to it.
Baldur's Gate 3 was a hell of an investment the first time. You got to pace yourself a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably just taking a little break from everything because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, so we got to pimp ourselves to the whores.
Why do we have to pimp ourselves to the whores? We pimp our whores to other people.
It literally says that on the rundown. Let's pimp ourselves to the whores.
I didn't write that. I mean, I'm not...
You know what? I might have, but
you might have, didn't I? All right, well, whores, listen up.
Yeah.
I mean,
who are our fans? We call them Cretins? No, they're whores.
Hey, why not both?
Does that make us pimps?
I think that's what the implication was, and I'm just like, well, I've got a robe on right now, but otherwise, how many pimps do you know of that wear like N64 shirts? Not very many.
Only the best.
Not to derail, I'll make it short. Have you ever listened to a stand-up comic named Pete Holmes?
Maybe. I listen to a lot of stand-up. I can't memorize all their names.
He he had this joke about pimps, and he was like, so I encountered a pimp the other day. Well, how did I know he was a pimp?
Visualize
Do me this favor. Visualize a pimp. You got it. Yeah. Anyway, all right. We got to wrap this up at some point. So, like, let's do the pimping, and then we can strut away.
Listen, you jive cats. No, I'm not going to do that.
What the fuck was that?
I was trying to 70s pimp. Didn't the pimps all die out in the 70s?
No, pimping is very much still a profession of sorts. It's just I don't know what they look like now.
Well, I mean, it's like the Godfather said, pimping ain't easy.
That's true. Yes.
I think this horse is dead and buried and rotting at this point. We're just still kicking it.
At least we're still not.
Go ahead.
Pimping it. I don't know.
Okay.
We've exhausted this.
Look at this dead horse. You want to fuck the dead horse?
Oh, why wouldn't I?
Where are we going with this?
Who among us, should the opportunity present itself?
God.
It's for science, of course. The science of
strictly science. Science of pimping. Listen, well, you gotta carry your integers over to the next hole.
Okay, it's time to go to bed. Let's go. Come on. Put the floppy hat down.
Everyone, practice infinite diversity in infinite combinations.
In infinite pimping.
Even if you're pimping. A link tree to all of our socials and other media can be found in the description. Join our Discord. Again, join it and you can pimp yourself. You can also continue the discussion.
Well done.
Yes. Our missing pimp in action, Jay, he's not here. You can find him on SquarePeg's YouTube channel. You can find me, WRHstudios.com, or on my Instagram, WRHstudios. We have merch on tpublic.com that features the art of our own favorite pimp, Tom Solo.
Oh, God. He's going to probably shoot you a text over that one.
He's our artistic pimp, and we love him. To all of our followers and pimps, new and old, we say, welcome to the guild.
Bob, this is Tom. I've been getting some pretty strange phone calls about questions about my line of work. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you? That's what Tom Solo sounds like to me.
I have a family, for God's sake.
Oh, my God. How could things have gone this? We know how.